So I just spent the last 5 or 6 hours getting my cheeks absolutely clapped by Rellana, and here's what I learned in that time. Rellana is very reminiscent of Millennia in that her moveset is very fast, being that she has 2 weapons, and you're not going to have the time within a single dodge to dodge every single attack in her moveset. And you're going to have difficulties reading her moves if you're too close, and you end up dodging so much that your camera doesn't allow you the full visual of her telegraphs. And so to counter this, you're likely going to have to use pretty advanced positioning, which will require you to know the length of each of her weapons and where to stand relative to her attacks so that you don't get hit from moves that you're trying to dodge with distance rather than a dodge itself. She has some serious roll catches in her combo moves, as well as her dashing away move, which will catch you in a back roll, rolling into the center of her combo if you're not careful. And on top of all of that, she'll end her combos early if you're too far away from her, which prevents you from getting the opening. To counter this, I used some throwing knives, but really any ranged weapon could allow you to make an opening where there isn't one. But for the most part, I would advise learning the correct distance to stand away from her to trigger her openings so that you can dodge into the final bit of the most important part of her attacks to receive your opening. So let's take a look at her moves individually. For the most part, her moveset is pretty combo heavy. She can pretty much use any of her moves in a row with each other in a variety of ways. And so the most important facet is going to be learning the intro of each move and the opening at the end of combos, which generally is going to be a move where she uses both of her weapons and swings or thrusts them. As a rule of thumb, if she's using both weapons, you generally have an opening, with the exception of one proximity punish in which she swings both of her weapons twice. Her openings are generally really small. There is basically no room for anything other than a single hit, and that is largely because you'll want to get a hit in and then dodge away from her before she can do her next move. You want to get away from her shorter, faster sword, which can hit multiple times very quickly near her but lacks range, but also you want to dodge before she can do her dash so that way you're not dodging back into her when your camera changes. I found that one light attack and a dodge away almost always kept me safe, with some minor exceptions. Now, one of the more difficult positioning situations is in this combo here, where she dashes to the right, swings once, and then swings her longer sword, which can very easily catch you off guard. And finding the spacing that will allow you to continue her combo to its completion in the next hit, while also not getting hit by the length of her weapon, is pretty difficult and will take some practice. So maybe just watch this bit over and over again to see where I'm standing. Another difficult situation takes place within this 3-hit combo, which oddly enough always gave me time to do a charged heavy afterwards, but I don't know if that's reliable or if I got lucky. But this combo can also morph into a much longer, much more dangerous combo, which if you're expecting to dodge into the final bit of the attack and then end up just in the middle of a giant combo, you're likely going to eat some hits. If you want to master these moves, you're going to have to identify them first and then wait until the point at which they diverge from one another, in which she'll put both of her weapons above her head, which then in one instance of the combo pauses before attacking and in another continues moving fluidly. It's a little difficult and subtle, but if you take the time to look at it and learn the telegraph well, it shouldn't be much of a problem. The next tip I have in regards to her moveset focuses on this Flurry combo she does, where she squats down and comes at you with a barrage of attacks. But what you'll find is that you can just kind of panic dodge away from it. If you time your dodge to dodge away when she gets closest to you and then dodge again, she'll pretty much miss all of her initial flurry, and then she'll charge up a larger attack, which I found out is jumpable. And so if you just wait it out, you can get a pretty serious hit as well as a good amount of stagger in. I was able to hit her with a jump heavy every time, and because I was jumping her attack instead of dodging it, it was easy enough to get away the same as I would with a light attack after dodging the move. Something subtle you'll be helping yourself in learning is this move here where she swings and dashes away, which ordinarily is not all that important. However, in phase 2 it gets the Moonveil Katana attack, so you'll want to learn the telegraph for it so you can dodge it better in phase 2 later. She also has a couple magic moves which get upgraded in phase 2, which summon glint blade projectiles, and in phase 2 she summons more of them. The first of which is just a standard summon, and the second is a attack variant where she sends them out with her sword and then comes at you afterwards, which you'll have to predict and be ready for. Luckily, this gives you an opening after one hit, but only if you get all the way behind her, as she'll turn it into a combo move if you're not behind her. Now, lastly for phase 1, she has one event move, which summons a giant glint blade sword that she slams into the ground and then spins around, which comes at you pretty quick, so be prepared to dodge early. This allows you an opening afterwards, and it happens at around 60% health, so you'll likely be entering phase 2 shortly after. The real phase 2 will start with her doing this animation, which buffs both of her swords with their respective element, and then does a special move. The first is a fire tornado blast, which is pretty sick. You can activate that by standing too close and then just sprint away by the time you know it's activated. Her other attack is a magic spell attack, which sends out a bunch of glint blade arcs, which come at you too quickly to dodge them as far as I'm aware without Bloodhound Step. One way that I found to successfully dodge them all was to sprint out the first two by making distance and then sprinting, and then jump early on the third, which allows you to throw it off of your tracking and you'll fall underneath its attack. The next one you'll be ready to dodge because you'll have hit the ground by then. Then you'll have one more, which is just a Moonveil line attack and is easy enough to dodge through and get one hit of opening. Now, our phase 2 combos have some pretty intense modifications to them. First is this combo, which starts with a thrust and then turns into this massive dancer-esque combo, flurrying around, which ends with a X slice and then gives you a one-hit light attack opening. The next is an addition to her quick 2-hit double weapon attack, which just adds some more combo to it, a thrust, another hit, and then a double attack, which has an added projectile and gives you an opening. Her quick X slice gets bonus telegraph in phase 2 with her sword lighting up with fire, but that also increases its power, giving her an added explosion in the path of her blade. This seems also in an effort to confuse you, as she also gets another move where her lighter sword lights up with fire, and then she does this unique slash slice that explodes as well. The telegraph for this is a longer squatting stance she takes before she initiates the slash. Now, one thing I wanted to potentially mention that's worth doing is to attempt to predict her phase 2 animation. And if you can do this, you can set up and get at least 2 charged heavies in, which basically guarantees you the stagger if you've done any damage before that, but you can also get one more regular heavy in, which should do the job if you've got a weapon similar to mine in size. I wouldn't say it's entirely reliable, as she's not always going to pop her phase 2 at the exact time. She might do something else, but if you got the nerve for it, it's worth doing. And lastly, she has her triple moon move. Even though it's a double moon, she does 3 blasts. The first 2 I would recommend dodging through because I don't believe you have the time to jump over all 3. But the last one you can certainly time the jump for if you're close enough to her, and you can land a jump heavy, and you should be close to finishing her off at this point, if not finishing her like I did. And so that's basically everything you need to know, unless there are other secrets I did not see. But hopefully that helped you out. Send this to someone you think sucks and won't be able to beat her without help. Let me know in the comments how much you're enjoying Shadow of the Erdtree. I haven't seen much. I've mostly just been in this arena the whole time. I'm gonna leave you with the rest of the no-hit, and I'm gonna jump back in the game. So thanks for watching.